Hey guys, welcome back to Bait and Tackle, and today is part 3 of the Line Thru Swimbaits, and we have all of our swim baits ready. We've got all of our swim baits dusted. They're ready to go. We need to put the insert rods in. We also need to put the inserts inside on the rods themselves, put them inside the molds, clamp them all together, and get the hot plate out, the griddle, so that we can start pouring our 3 layers. So stay tuned, let's do this. So the first thing we need to do is we need to get our inserts. Here's our insert rods, and here is our lead weights that we painted. The one thing I'm going to do is I'm going to get these rods oiled up real good so that they have some oil on them for when we put them in the molds. I want to make sure that they're well oiled. One thing that I did was one of these rods is actually a little bit shorter than the other ones, and they're actually not even, I don't think any of these are the same. So I'm going to go ahead and just oil these real quick. Just throw a little oil in my hands, roll them around, get them nice and oiled up if it doesn't all soak into my skin. Okay, so there's that. Now we're going to take one rod, we're going to take one of these, we're going to slide it on. Okay, that oil feels good. I think it's nice, and just spin it around a few times. Then what we're going to do is we're going to put it in the first mold and check and see how close it is to the front of that bait, which actually that's not too bad. There's enough space there for the plastic to flow around, so I think we're gonna go ahead and keep that one. That one's okay. So we're gonna go through and just put these all together. I'm gonna put them all together real quick, and that way we can start mixing our colors, because it's going to take a little bit to mix our colors. So here's another one. Just get it on there, get it spinning so it's good, free spinning. Yep, good to go. Let's drop this one in there and see what this one does. Okay, it's a little bit too close what I'd like to be up in the tip of this thing. So we're going to trim some of the metal off the back, and I've just got these big pliers that have a cutter on them, and I'm just going to trim off just a little bit, and then we'll try it again. So let's go ahead and set it in there. Okay, this one a little bit better. I think I'm going to take it just a hair more off. It wasn't quite what I wanted. If I can take enough off. Okay, let's see how this goes. Okay, make sure that's slid back, and that's a little bit better. I think we're okay there. I think the plastic will find its way around that, I hope. So let's go with that. That one will be good. Put this one together. This one's ready, this one's ready. Want them to be all semi close to being the same. I don't want them to be different in any way. So let's do the next one. And again, what I'm doing too is I'm putting the skinnier end towards the front, towards the head of the bait. Then that way the heavier part is towards the belly. So let's see what this one does. That one actually is pretty good. That's spaced out fairly well. So I think we're good on that one. I think that one's okay. So let's put this together. Put it over here. Next. And at some point here, I'm going to just go ahead and move these onto this cookie sheet just to get them off the table. This one's a little bit too short, real skinny right there, so I'm going to go ahead and trim this one back a little bit too. Hopefully trimmed enough off there to make a difference. Oh yeah, that's perfect. So that one's good. Close it up. Now this one, the tail was poking out just a little bit. Just got to make sure it's flat back enough to where we're okay. And it's actually not closing all the way, and I think it's because the end of this rod, where I pinched it, might have been a little bit too much. So I'm just going to try to manipulate that down just a little bit so it's easier to close. Hopefully that's the problem. Yep, that was the problem. Okay, So I can see from here on these that I got plenty of space around the lead weight to pour, to do my pours. So I should be okay. So let's do these last two real quick. Like I said, skinnier end towards the tip. Let's see if this one, see how much room we got here. No, that one's a little bit too close. I don't like that either. So if you look here, I'm going to show you a close up here. If you look there, there's just not enough room in between that weight and the skin pour. So we're going to have to cut this one down as well. Now the good news is, hopefully at some point here, if I cut enough off of these, should be fine to do it next time. So all these will be ready to go for next time. So, and that's a lot better. See the room there in between the weight and the wall. So we're good there. Okay, last one. Let's see how this one goes. This one looks like it's been cut, and it has. Oh, plenty of room. Maybe back a little bit too far. Hopefully it'll reach around that belly. That might have been the first one I cut, but I think we're good there too. So here's all of our 6 molds, and 2 of them are actually a little bit taller than the other ones. 4 of them are all the same height, exactly the same height. 2 of them are a little bit taller. I don't know why that is. Just a piece of metal that got manufactured when they made those. But anyway, so here's our mold. So let me get the griddle out. We're gonna get it heated up. I'm gonna make 3 different colors. One's got to be clear with some silver. One's got to be a baby blue, and I can't remember what the last one is. But we'll work our way through it, and we'll get this thing going. So the first color I'm going to do is clear with some black flake, and I'm going to use 0.15 black flake, and I'm just going to put. Actually, I take that back. That's a little bit too small for what I want. I want some bigger flake. I'm actually going to go ahead and use 0.35, which is a pretty good size, but I want it to really stand out in the bait. So we'll use this. Like I said, it's a small amount of plastic, so we'll just do 1 scoop and see where that goes. So I'm going to go ahead, give that a stir. And this is the plastic that we use to make the skin pours. So what I want to do here is I split it up into half. I'm going to use half of it. I'm going to use half of it to make this color. Then I'm going to use, which is the base color. And it's just, like I said, it's just clear with black flake. And I'm going to heat this up again real quick. The next one we're going to do, I'm going to heat this one up too. And it's the plastic yellowed a little bit, but it shouldn't show like that through the bait. But the second one is going to be this baby blue by MF. So we'll use that for the middle stripe. And then on the last color, I'm going to do a thing of new plastic, and I'm going to put some minnow silver in there. And this is Lure Craft minnow silver. Basically kind of just some, I guess if you want to call it like some clear with some really fine silver glitter. It looks really sharp. So let's go ahead and and this baby blue is going to be, I want it to be kind of light, so we're not going to add a ton of color to it. And we're also going to put this through the degassing chamber, just to, actually, it's got really like no bubbles in it. So I think we're good. I think I must have cleared out most of them before. So we're going to go ahead and pour this, I guess. I think I'm ready now. So let's do this. Let's pour this one first, and we'll start heating up the next one. I do have the fan on, so I apologize for the noise. I think it's better with this audio camera, or this microphone that I have now. But we're just going to go ahead and pour this in, and it's pretty hot. I think I got up to like 360, 370. So this is going to be the bottom color. And up in the head, it doesn't really matter, because in the head, I have the entire thing dusted with a solid color, so it shouldn't be too bad. But I do want to make sure that we get enough plastic in there to fill it in. So just going to go ahead and do this on each one of them. This will be the belly color. Hopefully it'll go forward a little bit. And this is extremely hot. Okay, I did a little bit too much on that one. That's okay. Just going to try to reconcentrate here on this one. That one's good. So we went a little bit too far on that side, on that third one. That's okay. Like I said, we'll get it in the head, get it to where we need to get it to. This is just the belly color, so there's not a lot of color. This is just clear, like I said. And it's hot, but I don't want to overpour it. Okay, so there's that. That's the first color, just some clear with black flake. That'll be in the belly, towards the front. So now what we'll do is, the heat right now on the griddle is, it's only on warm, but it's showing up at about 175 degrees. But if I look at the top of the molds, it's at about a little over 100. So the important thing here is that we want to get it probably up to about the 225, 250 range once we start melting everything together. But while we're pouring the first set, while we're pouring the colors, we don't want to do that yet. We just want to go ahead and get the colors in there, get our 3 layers poured, and then we'll heat it up real hot, and hopefully I won't overcook them, because we don't want the flake to settle, but we also don't want the skin molds, we don't want the dusting to settle either, because I've done that before, where if you get too hot, the parts you dusted on the skin pores will actually go down the sides. So, and I apologize, I didn't zoom in for that last shot, but we will for this next one. So, let's continue forward. Okay, I think we're ready for second color. I think we're ready to pour our thin line here. I got the blue with a little bit of GT22. It's baby blue, just a little bit of baby blue. So what I'm going to do with this is just do a thin line back up to hopefully the end of that anal fin is kind of where I want to stop. Perfect. Do the same thing here. Come up on the back side of the weight, fill it in real good, and just go ahead and let that plastic glide right back to where we need it to. Just keep going down the line here. Now this one's up a little bit higher than what I like it to be, so I'm just going to kind of follow it, maybe do a thinner line on this one just because I messed up the first pour a little bit. And I'm trying not to drip on the side of the skin pour, because I don't want it to get caught up on the edge. Perfect. Steady as she goes. Same. Pour enough in there to get to the end of that anal fin there. I think that's about it right there for that one. And then the next one, the last one. And it's going to take me a few minutes on this last color. I've got to heat up. The plastic is new, so I've got to heat it up, and then I'm going to have to degas it and add the colorant and everything like that, so it's going to just take me a few more minutes on this last pour. Alright, so we're waiting on the last few seconds here for the plastic to be done. I'm just making sure it's real nice and hot. I got it degassed. The one thing that we need to pay special attention to is making sure that we get a lot of plastic up in that head so there's no air. So what I like to do is kind of keep it to one side if I can, and make sure the plastic is extremely hot. That way it will spread out the way you want it to and fill in all the voids that you want them to fill. Now, I just took some plastic out of the microwave right now, and I've got it up to 363, which is really good, really nice and hot. So I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna start pouring these. Again, we gotta try to fill the head in the best we can. So I'm just gonna slowly just kind of let that seep down through the head, and I can see it coming up the bottom of it. That's the important part, is making sure that the head gets filled correctly. And just let that plastic roll down that tail, right into that tail cavity. Nice and slow, nice and slow, nice and slow. And just make sure we got a little bit extra in the body, just so that I can seal in the skin pour, and I'll show you that in a few minutes. Let's go ahead and get the rest of these done. Make sure it's filling in that head space, and it is. I'm watching it, sitting here watching it. Okay. Let it flow down that tail. Don't want to get too over anxious there. Filling that tail, run nice and steady. Back to the body. Okay. Perfect. Same thing. Nice and hot plastic, let it fill in that void in the head. I'm just letting it kind of slowly fill the cavities in. I don't want any air in there. Let it come back. Let it flow. Let that tail fill right up. Not too fast. I did a little bit too fast on that one. Just going to take a second break here. My hand was getting a little awkward. That one, I think we may have over poured the tail a little bit, but we can trim that out. So again, the important part is getting that head filled in and making sure that there's no air voids. So I'm just nice and slowly getting it all filled in. Looks like it's all going in there perfectly. Okay. And then back to the tail. Now, I suppose theoretically you probably could do it where you start at the tail and then move your way back up if you wanted to. But it's just kind of the way I prefer to do it. Just put in a little bit extra there in the body, and we just move to the next one. Same thing we've been doing. Making sure we get that head space filled in real good. I'm watching it here in the back side. I think we're good. Hopefully we don't have any air trapped up there. I'm trying not to make a mess here, trying not to get outside the mold. Very careful, trying to keep my steadiness, trying to get that back. Okay, a little extra in the body there. And then the last one. Now, the one thing I'll show you that I do at the end here, let me get this last one filled in and I'll show you. But I'm trying to get the head filled in with no space there. Okay, I think we're good. Okay. Get this last one filled in here. Okay, so last thing we need to do, and I like to take a blowtorch and I like to just really carefully go over, especially the fronts of the molds, the sides, wherever you can see the skin pour, and you'll see a little bit of flame. Just blow it out. But I like to try to melt the plastic together. That way it kind of becomes one. Try not to burn it too much here. Try not to not to burn it too much. But I want the skin pour to be meshed with that top layer. And then you can see the plastic actually melt. But what I don't want to do is get little scorch marks like what I just did there. But it's not terrible. We can just go back and cut that off later if we have to. Okay. So again, just kind of, and sometimes the tail plastic starts to indent because it's cooling too fast. So this kind of helps that too. Well, I'm going to have to cut that off, but I think that's going to get cut off anyway. There's too much plastic there. But the one thing we're going to do too is we're going to heat these up and get them nice and toasty so that all the layers bond together really well. But this is just kind of a good way to get the seal on the top, get that skin pour sealed up on the top. And like I said, it definitely undoes. You just kind of wave it back and forth. Now this probably uses up a fair amount of butane, but like I said, if you want perfection, we want the skin to be well bonded with the actual plastic in the middle. So there's a little bit of yellowing just from me burning it a little bit, but again, top of the bait's not really going to matter. The body is really what we're concerned about. So we are at 190 degrees, 138 on the top of the molds. I don't know if you can see that or not, but not the plastic, the molds. This is about 150 something. So we want that to come up to at least like 225. So we're going to adjust the knob on the hot plate, the griddle. We're going to adjust that to 225. Then we're going to come back and check the molds again. I'm going to let this heat up for a minute. We're going to come back and check the molds again. And I want to get this up to at least 225, I'd say. Right now we're almost at 200 on the top. Luckily with preheating, see, that's already coming up to 225. If you look, I'm shooting over there on the side. It's coming up pretty good already. 220 is the actual griddle itself. Now over here on the hot plates, or the molds themselves, they're coming up a little bit. It's 160, 150. Okay, but the outside edge, which you can't see, I'm not actually showing it, but it's about 250 right now on the outside edge. So I want them to come up. I want that top temperature to be fairly hot, but I also don't want the sides to come up too hot either. It's saying it's at about 250, so we may just go ahead and roll. Yeah, the griddle's saying 280 now, so we're just going to go ahead and let that bake for about, I don't know, let's say a couple minutes. And I don't want it to get too hot. It's almost 300 on the sides. I think that's probably pretty good. I'm gonna let it go for a minute. I don't wanna overcook. So let's go ahead and do a minute. I'm gonna keep an eye on it. It's a little over 3 right now. The top is at saying that it's only 130, but I don't believe that. And the griddle is at 330. So this cooks a little bit hotter because it's ceramic. So like I said, I'm just going to let it keep going for about a minute, and then I'm going to turn it off. The side got up to about 350. And that's about where I want it to be. So I'm just going to go ahead and turn this off. And you can do what's called the spit test. And it's not quite there on the tops of those yet, but I think we're okay. There's my alarm telling me to shut it off. And I can't shut it off because it's being stupid. There we go. Okay, so we got that. We got this turned off, unplugged. Again, I don't want to cook them too much. It got up to 370, 360 on the outside. I mean, they're hot. I normally do the spit test, but again, I don't want these to be overcooked. So I'm gonna be a little bit more cautious. So I had them on the hot plate, heating up for a little bit. One thing I'm gonna do before we go any farther is I'm just gonna trim off a little bit of some burnt excess there. These all look pretty good. Some little pieces. This one right here got a little bit away from us. So I'm just gonna trim it up just a little bit, get some of that out of there. I'm gonna try to get some scissors maybe, just to trim the little tiny bit of burnt off there. No, I'm not gonna do that because it's gonna mess it up. But let me just trim this real good. And then I think what we'll do is maybe just take like a little razor blade or something and just kind of trim that off a little bit. It's a little bit full on that tail. Yep, there we go. Okay. So I got a good chunk of it off. There's a little bit left there. I'll probably take it off later. No big deal. So let's get one of these out and see how we did. The unveiling. Let's see how we did here. What do you think, guys? Think this came out good? Oh, hot dog, it did. Okay, so the head is silver where we wanted it. Got the blue line there coming up the gill plate, the back of the gill plate, which really isn't one in this bait, just this mold. The eye socket is black. We've got the black fin. The side fin is filled in all the way, but it is clear plastic. If you look at it from the side, it's clear. I don't know if you guys can see that or not. See it? There we go. Clear. And then behind it, I put some blue, so it kind of accented it, that blue. So it looks pretty sharp, I'm going to be honest. I probably should have put the line up a little bit higher, but that's pretty cool. I'll take it. So now you slide the bar out from the bottom, and that's it. So the bar is out. It's got a hole through the bottom. If you can see that. I don't know if you guys can see that very good, but there's a hole right there. Trying to focus in, see it? There's the hole right there. It's going to try to focus on something else. Then there's another hole up on the nose. Let's see if I can get it to focus here. There's another hole on the nose right there. See it? There it is, right there. See it? See the hole? Okay, so that's the hole. That's the through hole we're talking about. So, awesome looking bait. The dusting came out pretty good. And again, this is a through line swim bait. And I can see the white from the weight inside. That's kind of neat. That's pretty cool. That came out really neat. I like it. I do like how that came out. So let's go ahead and demold the rest of these. And it looks like the plastic all joined together really well. Nothing's splitting. So the temperature was good. I don't see the flake settling, so that was really good on the heat. So I think we're good. So I'm going to put these back together. I'm just going to, as we go through, demold these. Then we'll figure out a nice eye for them, and I think I know which one to pick. I think it's going to be a blue eye. It's going to look really cool. Oh, one thing we need to check though, I didn't check just to make sure that the head filled in with plastic. It did. It filled in all the way with plastic. So we did a good job. The spacing was good on the bars. So just gently twist the bar to pull it out, and it comes right out. So I just wanted to do that. I'm sorry. I'm sorry if it wasn't focused. I didn't notice. Wasn't looking at the camera. So that one came out really good too. So there's two, and the fins filled out good with the skin pour that we did in the last video. Those came out really well. Skin pores filled in perfectly. Same thing on this bait. God, these came out awesome. I think they're actually better in person than they are in on the video. So, but so cool. Came out awesome. I love it. I'm gonna leave one sideways there so you guys can kind of see it. But I'm gonna start putting some of these back together too, just to get them off the table a little bit. Just to get them out of our way. But man, what an awesome swim bait. I love the colors. I started doing this color a while back last year, and I just absolutely fall in love with it because it's kind of like a silver minnow, but it's got a little blue to it, so it's like a blue tint. So it just what an excellent color. But man, I'll tell you. So again, twist a little bit and just pull it out. That's it. So cool. So awesome. And I like the white that we chose for the paint on the weight, on the insert. I like that paint color. I like just the white. That's kind of neat. It kind of gives it a little bit of an accent color. It's kind of cool. It's almost like it's got something in its belly. It's just, wow, what a cool swim bait. So all of them came out great, the way we wanted them to come out. We'll get this last one out of here. And then we're gonna go ahead and pick some eyes. And I'm not gonna glue them, I'm just gonna stick them on there, just so you can see what they look like. But I have a funny feeling these are gonna look pretty darn excellent. And every single one of those came out great. The skin pores came out perfect. There was one there that we over poured, I think it was this one, but you really can't even, oh, you can tell a little bit because the blue line's up a little higher, which actually looks pretty good. The rest of them, the blue line's down in the blue, so, but man, those came out fantastic. I couldn't be more pleased. So let me get some eyeballs, and I'm gonna show you guys what they look like with some eyeballs, because these are definitely worthy of having some cool eyes. I chose a 12 millimeter. I think these are called Super Pearl Teardrop eyes. Look at that eyeball on that bait. So awesome with that blue. God, it's so cool. So I'm gonna go ahead and just stick a couple on so you guys can see them. I'm not gonna glue them in place yet. I'm gonna do that later because I wanna actually get these into a water bath and let them sit for a little bit in some water just to, so I'm just gonna put one on temporarily, maybe two on temporarily, just so you guys can see what we made. But man, what an awesome looking swim bait. These will definitely catch fish, definitely. So we got 1, 2, 3, one more. 5, okay. So, I'm gonna go ahead and get this thing out of the way here, this clamp. I'm gonna go ahead and stick a couple of these eyeballs on some of these baits just so you guys can see, and then I'll go back and put some, I'll go back and glue them on later. I'm gonna have to take them all off again, which is the terrible part, but I want you guys to see what they look like. But man, I mean, what a beautiful swim bait. And the through line thing, I have never used through line swim baits before, ever in my life. Heard they're very cool. I did send a set to a friend of mine over Christmas in perch pattern, so I hope those work really well for him, and he can tell me how they work and hopefully report back to me if they're good or not. All right. Sorry if you can hear that in the background. My wife and kids are being really loud. I don't know what they're yelling at about up there. But we're gonna go ahead and continue doing this. I'm just gonna go ahead and put the eyeballs on all these so I can finish up this video. for you guys. But there they are, guys. All 6 look great. I'm so super excited how those came out. Came out way better than I thought. What a beautiful swim bait. A beautiful mold. These molds work really well too, and I love the through line pins. Just what an awesome, awesome setup, awesome mold. Very, very cool. Okay guys, so we just wrapped up the video and we made 6 of these gorgeous inline swim baits with these just, I mean, they're just unbelievable, astronomical how they came out. And I love that the insert is right in there. It gives you a nice weight, so you don't have to do any kind of weighted hooks. You just run a line down through the bottom, and then you just tie a treble on and just stick it in the body, and away you go. So the line goes right through the swim bait. But what a beautiful swim bait. Love it. Love how they came out. Beautiful colors. Stay tuned for some pictures, some close-ups after this. You guys have been doing great. Subscribers are coming in slowly and steady. I'm going to keep blasting out much content as I can for you guys. I really appreciate you all watching. And remember, keep on baiting.